Hello, my name is Christine Gnaster, and I am the product manager for ClearCheck and ClearCalc. I'm going to show you a demonstration of the products today. So when it comes to errors in radiation oncology, in 2019, about 4,000 incidences and near misses were reported to Royals. A University of Washington study found 62% of treatment errors were not detected by the physics chart review when looking at incidents in their risk system. You can see through the workflow here where the errors occurred, the vast majority of them occurring in the pre-treatment stage. So what we've tried to do is come up with products that can easily aid users in identifying possible issues, not only at the chart check stage, but even prior to that during the treatment planning process. So with our scripts, you can gain efficiency because we are seamlessly integrated into the treatment planning system. You don't need to export any data or leave Eclipse in any way. And so you gain that efficiency through that single platform. First, I'm going to show you ClearCheck. So we have multiple components contained in the ClearCheck software. But ultimately, we're looking at automating plan evaluation. So again, gaining more efficiency, but not only doing that, but again, saving time and then pulling these out so they're really easy to identify in the patient's chart. And the great thing about the ClearCheck script is it's really intended to be a dynamic script. So you can use it throughout the process, as I mentioned. That way you're able to identify errors even before we get to a physics chart review. So you have the contouring stage, of course. You can run structure checks and identify any errors there right after contouring. Same thing once you add your fields on, we have a collision checks module I'll discuss, and you can go ahead and run that and identify issues prior to even getting into optimizing plans. Then you can evaluate the plan as you're getting in and adding dose on, so you can run our dose checks or our dose constraint verification. Finally, we do streamline the document printing process. With one click, you're able to get all of the documents that are necessary into a treatment plan and then also into your record and verify. And finally, we have our plan checks. So these are identifying with plan setup where any issues may have occurred. Make sure that you're really sticking to department needs when you're running the plans themselves. So first I'll talk about dose constraints. So this is where we're actually evaluating the coverage on the plan. So you can evaluate all plans very easily. So we have 19 different dose constraint types. And we've also added in the ability to analyze BED and EQD2 doses. So you also have that option to scale those based on those nomenclatures. Additionally, our template library is pre-built with over 50 protocols, and they can all be customized, and you can even create protocols from scratch. So this way we're really able to create the dose constraint requirements you have specifically for your clinic, but maybe even on a per physician basis as well. With structure checks, we can catch errors again before treatment planning really even begins as far as adding the fields on, because right after you contour, you can go at launch in ClearCheck and jump right into the structure checks where we're looking for stray pixels, slice gaps, make sure laterality is assigned properly, make sure your margins have been expanded properly, and we've also added in a nesting check so you can make sure that your PTV is outside of your CTV and that those structures are nested appropriately. But we have 10 plus types of structure checks there. Moving into plan checks, this is where we've really focused on getting the TG275 requirements into the software. So with these plan checks, we have over 80 plan checks alone, including the option to customize and create your own plan checks. So everything from making sure you have the right dose calculation algorithm, dose grid size, make sure your CT slice thickness was correct, make sure GRRs are assigned to the field, and that you have orthogonal setup fields. So really just making sure that the plan is neat and tidy by the time it gets into the record and verify and onto the therapist for treatment. We've also added in prescription checks. So if you have a prescription assigned to the plan, we can quickly verify that the treatment plan prescription matches that prescribed treatment. With collision checks, we're actually recreating the patient as well as any contoured support structures and the linear accelerator in 3D space. So you can see a glimpse at what the actual treatment is going to look like. This includes static fields, SRS cones, electron cones, again, I mentioned the contoured support structures, but not only those, but any HU-based collisions we can also detect. So if you have a vac lock that's on, you want to make sure you're not going to collide with that. You can set the HU number, and we're able to tell you without even needing to contour the vac lock if there are going to be any collisions. As I mentioned with reporting, we're just going to take all of the checks that we've sort of broken down with ClearCheck, as well as the plan itself. We're going to pull all those plan properties from Eclipse and give you a really nice, concise report. The great thing about our reporting is that it is fully customizable as well. So you can reorder items, you can turn certain items on, activate other items that you'd like to see, and we've also added in the ability to pull a 3D render for you automatically, as well as the capability to insert a secondary check with ClearCalc, as I'll mention, and portal dosimetry results into the report. The other neat thing we've done with reporting is had a direct integration pushing to ARIA document services. So we're pushing all these directly to that service, so you just set it up. Once you click a button to print the report, it'll go right into the patient's record and verify chart, and it'll be there and ready for use on the chart check. Moving gears now to ClearCalc. So this is our independent calculation software, so our secondary check here on the calculation. And as with all our products, when we developed this, what we really thought about was our experience in the clinic and sort of what were the points and places where we could improve those workflows. So what we've tried to do with ClearCalc here is take a six-step process and move it down to just 2. So you're launching ClearCalc from ClearCheck. We'll show you the results. You just push a button to save it. It'll save back to the ClearCheck report. You can also print the PDF independently if you'd prefer to. But again, the idea here is you don't have to export any DICOM files at all. We're going to pull everything we need across the API to really make it quick and seamless, and you're able to see the results very clearly. ClearCalc supports multiple modalities. Everything you see that I have listed here does come stock with the software, so you don't have to purchase separate modules. So we cover photons, 3D, IMRT, VMAT, SBRT, SRS, and wedges. And we do that utilizing a finite size pencil beam algorithm. So we're able to provide you with really fast results that are still very accurate, because we've spent a lot of time making sure that this isn't just a normal FSPB, but it's our modified Radformationized FSPB algorithm. With brachytherapy, we're utilizing a TG43 calculation. We do support both HDR and LDR, and we have 18 sources that have their pre-built TG43 data already in our application, so you can really hit the ground running with that. With electrons, we're doing a TG71 calculation. For the cutout factor itself, we do have an automated way to calculate that using our sector integration. And then you always have the other option to manually enter the cutout factor if you'd like. So again, the script launches via ClearCheck. It has full integration with Eclipse, as ClearCheck does, so no DICOM transfer is needed. Save for when you use our DICOM standalone option. So we do accept DICOM imports for flexibility in mixed environments. So we have a standalone application you can export DICOM files to and pull them into ClearCheck that way. Another thing we really wanted to make sure that we did right when we developed ClearCalc was, searching for the perfect point for every plane and every circumstance was always sort of something that we grasped at. We really wanted to achieve that. So we've added in our optimal calculation point selection for photons, in the hopes that it saves time. So we'll actually go through your reference points in the plan. If we don't find a point from the plan that's good, we're actually going to go through and search for a point for you. So again, really trying to automate that there. And you can save your results, as I mentioned, directly to the ClearCheck report or print that independent PDF. All right, so let's see what this looks like in action here. So in this case, I'm just going to show you a photon plan. I do have a VMAT here. I've also added on, as you can see, a QA course, so you can see what the portal dosimetry results are going to look like in ClearCheck as well. So everything is launched from the Tools menu. You can add shortcuts as well, with which I've done here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my shortcut to launch into the script, and we'll let this load up. So you see my results are loading now. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see all of the templates that I've assigned to the patient here. And again, as I mentioned, these are customizable. You can change them in our template manager. So it makes it really easy to assign them quickly to the patient. And you'll come back out here and see your results quickly as well. On the upper right-hand corner, you get a quick glimpse into what the results are. So the X, of course, will be our fail. A check means everything looks good and it's passing. And then you'd see a blue triangle if something was conditioned, where you're able to set a range for certain constraints. You'll see throughout the interface, you have the option to verify anything that is failing or conditioning, and always the option to add comments. So as I scroll down the results here, you'll see another duplicate of your DVH. So this is just the DVH you see in Eclipse, but we've pulled it here into the interface so you can quickly interact with it. So you can click on it, you can click on the blue boxes, hand type in a value, and quickly jump to any location you'd like to see. So if there's maybe something else you wanted to check on the DVH, you can do that right here. With prescription checks, again, we're going to take the plan's prescription as well as the assigned prescription to the plan and ensure that they match across the board. Structure checks. So here again, we're looking for straight pixels, trying to identify any slice gaps. And another great feature we've added in is making sure that the CT end is beyond any contour within a certain value. So I have mine set to 2 centimeters, but you could set this to 10 centimeters. And again, really nice to highlight, make sure the PTV isn't really close to the end of the CT data set. With margin checks, again, we're looking at expansions if you'd like to check them, and the nesting checks, so making sure that the PTV contains the CTV fully, and that we have all those properly expanded or contracted. With the plan checks, again, getting into that TG275 recommendations, making sure that we're checking as many pieces of the plan as we can, and doing this in an automated way. So really, instead of having to sort of comb through a plan and look for something specifically that you might forget one time, now you've got it all in one list, and we have our results immediately. So I can see how the overall behavior is of the plan, and see maybe here, we did scanned a little too thick and we need to go back and make an adjustment. And finally, with our treat prep checks, making sure your table coordinates match, the table coordinates are assigned, you have DRRs on all your fields. We can also check your QA courses and make sure that those are in there, particularly for something that needs it, as well as that the results are completed. And we can also make sure that their schedule is appropriately added. So from within ClearCheck here, we have 2 modules now we can jump into. So the first one I'm going to show you is ClearCalc. So if I click on the ClearCalc module, again, this is our FSPB. So it does take a few seconds to do the calculation because we are fully calculating in 3D space. So this is a 3D calculation. You can see our results at the upper left-hand corners, all your plan information. You can see your field information on the MU results table, as well as the ClearCalc MU and the difference. You still have the option to verify and comment as needed if you'd like to make any adjustments or acknowledge anything on a plan. On the calculation points table, we're going to show you the calc points we use for each of the fields. So if you had maybe half beam and we needed 2 calc points, you'd see 2 calculation points in the table. You can also see the per field breakdown in this table as well. Jumping into the calculation point selection window. So this is where we, again, really wanted to kind of make a change and make this a little more dynamic of a check. So this is where you can actually interact with the plan. So you see the actual dose from the plan on the right-hand side on the patient CT. And here you can scroll through and look at the points, as well as everything's color-coded. So everything that's green, everything that's passing for each fields. You'll see the yellow, sort of burnt yellow means that some fields pass and some don't. And of course, red means it does not pass. So we utilize the ISOCenter Again, because it was in the plan, it's one of the first points that we check to make sure that it's a well-behaved point. But you also have the freedom here to, I can either create points myself just by holding down Control and using my right click. I can just drop points if I want to check a certain area of the plan. And I can reassign a calculation point. So if I want, field 1, I actually want to use this point. You can see now that it's selected to the new point and it shows you the difference result. Or I can, let's go with field 2. I want to add one and create a new point at the same time while I'm adding it. So then I can just do that Control right click again. And now it's dropped the point and assigned it to the field. So here again, you've got that opportunity to really interact with the plan. You also see that we have the points scattered throughout the patient's CT set. The reason we did this is it really gives you a good idea, instead of just looking at a single point, but how the overall behavior of the plan is. We're also going to add in statistics on these points in a future version, so you're able to see, again, globally how the plan is performing. So I'm going to make that change. I'll just say save. And now I've got that new result. So here are my 2 new points and the 2 new points in the table. So at this point, I'm going to save this back to ClearCheck. And it's going to close out once I do that. I did have the option to save to PDF if I wanted to. The final component to show is portal dosimetry. So coming into this module, you'll see the portal dosimetry results as they were analyzed in Eclipse. So they'll display the results here. So now you can see our results. You see everything past, the predicted image, the portal dose image, and the gamma analysis. So everything is displayed here for you to evaluate. And then I'm just going to send these back to ClearCheck again. So at this point, I'm ready to print my report. So I'll go ahead and click or select my report template, click Report. And this will just then transfer everything to a report setup window where you'll see everything and also include all of the parts of the plan that you would normally print. So, your images, structures, dose prescription, field properties, reference points, DVH. So everything's all in here now. We'll also add in the beams I've used. Again, we render these for you. And you're able to see all the other components included here as well. So here's our ClearCalc calculation results and our portal dosimetry results. So I have 2 options now to print, actually a couple options. You can save as multiple formats. You can also save the PDF again directly to ARIA by pushing this to ARIA's document services, and ARIA will take it in and put it in the patient's record and verify chart. Or I can click Save PDF. So I'll save this to whatever location I specify, and then the PDF will pop up for me to review. So at that point, the plan analysis is done, and I have all my results, and I'm ready to go on to the physics chart check. If you'd like to see either of the products in more detail, please feel free to stop by our virtual booth and schedule a time, or contact us or your sales representative for that. Thank you so much for your time.